The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Oh, got it. Knocked my camera loose. There we go. What is up, everybody? Welcome into Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you, as always, and it is a Wednesday, which means we are joined by Scotty Mencher, Scotty Tuhati, in his wonderful brick wall-laid room. Scotty, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Oh, thank you, Anthony. It's always a delight.
It's always a delight. You're right,
Delight.
man. You are right. It's always fun on Wednesdays, and we have a good weather Wednesday. Might be dodging some rain tonight, but it's pretty scattered. So we're gonna give it the old college try and get as many games in as possible tonight for baseball and softball. Once again, this show is brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show and at YSN every single day. We thank them for their constant support and their constant sponsorship of this show. Like we start every show, we're going to recap the night before, Scotty, and like we always do, we'll start with where I was at. The game that I was at last night was Boardman hosting Fitch softball, and Fitch was able to win 6-0. They swept the AAC series with Boardman. And one of the things I kind of took away from this game, one, it was Fitch's first road game. So it was Fitch's first chance to play on dirt instead of their home turf for their softball team. That was interesting. And then it was a game where, and Scotty, you've seen this a lot in baseball, I'm sure, as well, in softball. One of those games where Boardman's offense did a lot of things right, but they didn't get the results as far as runs. They put runners on. They were able to really make Cindy Watts work for her outs, but that timely hit just never really came to fruition for Boardman. And that's one of the fickle things about baseball and softball, as you know so well. There's one of those things where Fitch got the timely hits. They got a couple of RBIs. They scored in all but 2 of the 7 innings. They scored 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and then 2 in the sixth to win that game 6-0. And when you look at it, Scotty, like I said, just timely hitting for Boardman. They were able to really put pressure on Cindy Watts all night. They put 7 base runners aboard, 6 hits, 1 walk. Just couldn't get that timely hit, and Fitch absolutely could. That's kind of the difference in the game last night.
Yeah, and sometimes, that's what it comes down to. Sometimes it's not as difficult to get the ducks on the pond as the old, baseball saying goes. It's more difficult to, do something to drive them in when you get the chances. And Fitch was able to do that last night. The encouraging thing for Boardman, though, is, at least having the opportunities, knowing they were there. They just didn't capitalize on them. But in baseball and softball, it's a sport where you generally, I think you fail a lot more than you succeed. That's just part of the sport. But I think if you're Boardman, you still got to take something from it, knowing you had some opportunities, and eventually you just got to feel like you'll be able to cash in.
Another positive spot for Boardman, at least not positive for last night, but at least going forward, is last night they were out without one of their statistically best hitters in Maddie Weimer, their starting catcher. She got hit by a pitch against Urson on Sunday, so she was out last night and out the night before. So to have that kind of production without one of the best hitters in your lineup, also pretty, you know, promising for Boardman and Coach Mooch going forward. They had Sydney Watts throw more than 110 pitches, but we'll talk about Fitch's side of this game now because they absolutely got the job done despite the pressures that Boardman was able to put on them. Sydney Watts still struck out 11 hitters. She still only walked one, gave up 6 hits, and she still has not given up a run inside of AAC play yet. 2 shutouts against Howland and now 2 shutouts against Boardman. You look at Sydney Watson. I don't know if we can talk about her more than she's already been talked about up the wazoo on this network. I mean, what else can you say? She's throwing 68 miles an hour with her velocity. But one of the things that I saw last night, I've been previewing it, but I was so happy to see it live in person. The off speed that she added to her repertoire this season, the control with her off speed pitch is it's impossible to time up. She'll go from, the high 60s in velocity, and then she'll throw about a mid 50s mile an hour changeup. And it got Boardman so many times, and she was throwing it for a strike. So you froze, you let it go, and then it's on the bottom of the zone for a strike. It's next level when you're able to add a changeup to a high velocity pitch like that.
And then the hitters are kind of like in that. It's like pick your poison, the heater or the breaking stuff, and it's like you don't know what to do either way. It's you're not in a good spot.
Not in a good spot. I knew it was going to happen. Like, I knew she was going to come into the season with a really good changeup because she spent the summer in travel ball being coached by Megan Betza, who is an All-American from Michigan. Hold your ears, Ohio State fans. Played for Michigan, All-American pitcher, and has one of the best changeups I've ever seen pitched in the game. So I knew she was going to come into this year having to develop that changeup. She's since moved to a different travel team, so she won't be coached by her anymore, but still spending one summer with Megan Betza being able to develop that changeup. I knew she was going to come into this year with a good one, and when she's throwing 67, 68, and then she's topping down with a low 50s to mid 50s changeup, it's nasty, and she's throwing it for a strike. She's got control of it, and then she mixes that. She'll have a velocity drop ball, and she'll go low in the zone, high in the zone. And then I also saw her throw a couple of backdoor curves last night too to go inside on the right-handed hitter. So Sydney Watts, phenomenal. I got to see her live for the first time since last year, so that was fun. She's going to be a Power 5 pitcher if she wants to be. I don't think there's any college in the country that would say no to a girl that can throw high 60s, probably by the time she's graduated high school into 70, and also can control it. I mean, for baseball people that don't know kind of the correlation between baseball and softball, if you're throwing high 60, Scotty, that is pretty much like your 95 mile an hour fastball in baseball. 68 from 45 feet away is comparable to 95 from 60 feet away.
Well, it does when you watch it too, because I'm not the softball connoisseur that you are, but
Picking
I
out the big words.
I've watched enough, and when you watch it too, and you watch the way they wind up, and I'm sure this is the case with Watts as well. The way they wind up and just the delivery, it's like smoke, man. It comes at you so fast.
Straight smoke. So on the offensive side for Fitch, Ayla Ray was 2 for 3 with an RBI and a triple. Abby Toth had a couple of RBI doubles as well. Sydney Watts also hit a home run on the offensive side. So offense was doing what they're always doing. And Sydney Watts dealt with some pressure and got the shutout for Fitch to beat Boardman. 6-0 the final score there. Fitch is back in action tonight against Maslin Perry at home. Ty Bartell will have the call there Falcons versus Panthers. Let's go on to some other games that happened on the network and otherwise last night. Um, one of the games I wanted to talk about, Scotty, was Crestview baseball. We have a no hitter alert in Crestview. It was Tyler Milhorn throwing the no hitter for the Rebels, and his final stat line looked like this: 5 innings. It was a run rule no hitter, but he allowed no runs, no hits. Obviously, struck out 7 and walked none. Very efficient 5 innings from Milhorn, getting the no hitter for Crestview. Like I said, you're going 5 innings, 7 strikeouts, no walks, no hits, no runs. And who knows, if you go 7, you might have a 7 inning no hitter too, the way he was pitching.
Yeah, I mean, no walks, that shows you the pinpoint control that he had. So yeah, man, the it seems like the sky was the limit there.
On the offensive side, it was 11 hits for the Rebels. Ethan Feasel, who we talked about on the Diamond Wrap Up show, had a big day. Matthew Lindsay also had a big day for Crestview. They both had multiple hits for the offense, and they scored 10 runs in the third inning that really just made this a runaway. Um, Drew Datillo, and Kane Booth and Feasel and McKee all drove in runs for the Rebels in that inning, a 10-run third. They get the win. Final score there, 16-0 over Liberty. They were on the road at Liberty. A little bit of a, I know some people were confused on that because usually softball and baseball travel together, right? So usually, especially in conference, if you're playing somewhere, softball team's playing somewhere too. Softball team was home last night. Baseball team was away. But then the JV team for Crestview brought in the varsity team for East. So it was kind of one of those things where Arbiter online said that there was a varsity game at Crestview because it was East varsity squad, but it was really JV. So for those fans that were confused and went to Crestview last night looking for a varsity game, the varsity was at Liberty, and Tyler Milhorn threw a no hitter for the Rebels. Congratulations to him. We have some other scores to get games to get out for you. Let's see here. Mineral Ridge baseball. They got the win over Waterloo to get the sweep on the baseball field. 10-6 was the final score here. Trey Wrigley is having a great week. He had another great game for the Rams. 2 for 4, 2 runs scored, and he led things on the offensive side. Jack Gilly also with a good day on the mound. He had 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 strikeouts through 3 1/3 innings of work. He got the win on the mound. For the Vikings, Drew Florida is one of their best players. He continued to bat well, 2 for 4 on the night with a couple of RBIs. Middle Ridge back in action on Wednesday where they take on Salem. A big test for Middle Ridge coming up. They've really looked good so far, Scotty, but now they're going up a couple of divisions and they'll play a really good Salem team. I'm interested to see how the Rams do tonight against the Quakers.
It's a good measuring stick, right? Uh, it's they've looked good so far, but this one will really show where they're at as far as you know this season and with their program. It should be really exciting because, as you mentioned, Salem.
Mhm.
Definitely, they bring it. So no spot.
Especially Scotty from the mound. I mean, Salem is a really good pitching team, so I'm excited to see if the Rams' offense can stay hot. If Trey Wrigley can keep, churning out multiple hit games against this really good pitching staff that Salem brings out.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I wanted to get your thoughts, Anthony, just real quick. When you know you're facing a juggernaut pitching staff like that, like if it was you, would you go up there? If you were playing, would you go up there with a more aggressive approach, trying to get out there the first good pitch you see, or would you be maybe a little bit more selective and more patient?
I think that comes with scouting too, because there are multiple ways to be a good pitcher. You can have a pitcher that usually the high velocity pitchers are the ones that throw harder, are the ones that try to attack the strike zone and get ahead of you early. And probably the best pitcher you're going to get at the at bat is usually the first couple. And then you have some pitchers that like to spin the ball a little bit more and put movement on the pitch, maybe not as high velocity. They're trying to get you to chase it stuff and trying to get you to help them out. So without those ones, obviously you want to be more selective. But I'm always the more like when I coach in the summer, I'm always a more of the aggressive mindset when you're at the plate. Like, hey, let's not let strikes go. Let's not let teams get away with throwing a pitch that's in your zone. Always look for your spot and always be ready to attack it. You got to be in attack mode at the plate. So, as my mindset when I'm coaching up hitters in the summer and things like that, I'm always aggressive with them. I'm always trying to get them to be on the aggressive side, look for their pitch and attack, because if you don't attack the pitcher and you let him control the at bat, then you're going to find yourselves in a bad spot. So I'm always a little bit more aggressive, but there are pitchers that you have to go up there and be a little bit more selective against because they're trying to get you to chase pitches early in the count.
Yeah, that's true. As you mentioned, though, to a lot of times, that just like baseball, really at any level, a lot of times you see that best pitch you're gonna get is that first
Right.
one. So
That's
I
not
could,
always the case, but it's true a lot of the time.
yeah, so I could see why you would like to go forward with that aggressive mindset mentality.
I mean, I don't want to bring up like the Homer stuff in me, but I remember when Kansas City was in the World Series, Scotty. I don't know if you remember this, but Alcides Escobar was their leadoff hitter, and he swung at the first pitch in every game, every at bat throughout the postseason. Like there was no at bat where he didn't swing at the first pitch. The only one he didn't was I think it was game 2 of the World Series when Thor from the Mets threw the ball up and in his chin and made him drop to the ground to avoid it. So that's pretty much the only way that you're not getting him to swing at the first pitch. So um, uh, yeah, some guys just go up there with that aggressive. I'm gonna hit the first pitch mindset, and I'm gonna attack this pitcher early and make sure he's never comfortable in this at bat. And I'm all for it. Now you
Yeah,
get in trouble because if you swing at the first pitch and it's junk and you pop it up in foul territory, then it's a long walk back to the dugout because it's like, hey man, you should have seen more pitches for your team. you know.
yeah. Or how about like when you got like a 3-0 count,
Yep.
you
Green
can
light and you
get
just
a
pop it
smack
up in the foul
on green
territory.
light and you pop it up.
That's one of the ones that makes you question yourself for that 5 seconds that you walk back to the dugout. So I mean, baseball, you try to have as much of a mindset as possible, but at the end of the day, really, as prepared as you are, and as much as you try to control the controllables, it's so fickle. I mean, you could put a good swing on the ball, and it could just be a ball that like moves right out of your bat at the last second, and a good swing turns into a fly out, and you have to walk back with an out. I mean, that's just it's a hard sport. It's built to make you fail, and you could do everything right and still ground out.
That's true. It's uh, like you said, built to make you fail. You fail a lot more than you succeed. So
Let's go over
uh,
the scoreboard from last night, Scotty, and get you all the scores. Talk about that Salem baseball team. They're going to be hungry because they lost last night 7-1 inside the EBC to Alliance. The final score there. Edgewood baseball gets the sweep over Crestwood, 5-3. The final score. That means Edgewood has better lumber than Crestwood. It's better lumber. It's more high quality wood, right? But
that's a good one.
that's my dad joke of the day. St. John softball got the win over Lakeside, 8-1. The final score there. Canfield went to Akron on the softball diamond and beat Hoban 5-2. Final score for that one. Poland on the softball field 4-0 now with a win over Struthers 13-0. South Range beat Niles 21-0 in softball. 2 games, Scotty. South Range outscores the Dragons 41-0 in 2 games in that series.
You think the Raiders are feeling themselves a
I
little?
think a little bit. I think they're putting a lot of momentum into this Myrtle Beach trip they're about to take. They have a big one tonight though. They'll travel to Lakeview. They beat the Bulldogs 11-0 at South Range, but I think this Lakeview team is kind of itching for another chance at the Raiders, and they'll be at home this time. So we'll see what that game has in store for us tonight as South Range travels to Lakeview. Jackson Milton baseball got the sweep over Western Reserve, 11-8. That's one of the biggest rivalries that we see in the smaller schools in the Ysn family. Jackson Milton, Western Reserve, they don't like each other and they want to beat each other more than anything. And there's already been, Scotty, some shade thrown on social media a little bit, and I love seeing it. I love the shade. I love the rivalry. I love the bad blood, man. That's what makes sports dramatic.
Yeah, it does. That's one of my favorite parts of sports is the rivalry
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it.
Springfield baseball got the win over your Rockets from Lowville. Sorry, Scotty, plug your ears. 20
Uh,
to 4 was the final score there, but I'm not gonna give it away. But I think if you stay tuned, you'll have some positivity coming out of Lowville in a little bit. But the baseball team does lose to Springfield 20 to 4 final score. South Range beats Niles baseball 11 to 1. That's a sweep for the Raiders over the Dragons, both of them by 10 runs. Crestview softball beats Liberty 12 to 2. Final score there. Fitch baseball finally loses in this season as Boardman splits the series 7 to 5. Boardman gets the win, and they once again split with Fitch in the AAC. We already said that Fitch softball got the win 6-0 over Boardman to sweep the series. East Palestine baseball, Scotty, this is a great bounce back because yesterday East Palestine lost 21 to 5 to Lisbon. Today, completely different story. 5-0. East Palestine beats Lisbon and splits the EOAC series.
Talk about having a doing a great job of having a short memory.
Right, man.
That's awesome for EP.
Short memory. It's good for baseball. It's bad for history exams. So take that life lesson and run with it.
That is true. I never really thought of it like
Oh
that.
man. I said that was the end of my dad jokes, but I pulled out another one just for you guys on a Wednesday. Um, Middle Ridge got the win on the baseball field. We already talked about it. 10 to 6. They beat Waterloo to sweep the Vikings. Champion softball beat the LeBray Vikings 19 to 1 to sweep that series in the MVAC. We already talked about Crestview. They won 16 to nothing over Liberty, and Tyler Milhorn threw a no-hitter for the Rebels. Congratulations to him on that feat. Western Reserve beat Jackson Milton 5 to 2 on the softball diamond. Not as much offense as we saw from yesterday, Scotty. In game 1 on Monday at Youngstown State, it was 13 to 11 Western Reserve. Pitching made some adjustments this time around, much lower scoring, and Western Reserve's able to get the win 5 to 2.
Yeah, and that's it's a big game of adjustments as well. Day to day, you have to be able to adjust. Constant game of adjustments and strategy as well. So that's a good feather in the cap for the Blue Devils to show they could win in numerous ways.
Zoe King had a big day for Howland at the plate as they beat Warren Harding 16 to 1. Final score there. Lakeview softball sweeps Girard 13 to 2. Final score there, and that's what I said. They're bringing a lot of hot bats into this South Range game. So we'll see what Lakeview has in store in Game 2 of that series. Hubbard softball gets their first win of the season, 8 to 4. They split the series with Jefferson, and they get the win there at home over the Falcons. Garrettsville Garfield softball sweeps Newton Falls 20 to 1. The final score there over the Tigers. Columbiana beats Lisbon softball 24 0. The final score there in the EOAC. Scotty, here's what I was talking about. Lowville get some positivity now. Their softball team with the big upset over Springfield, 4-2. Final score, Rockets get the win, and they throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in the MVAC Scarlet tier, and now Springfield has one loss in the conference.
And I remember back in the day how good it would feel when I was in high school and we would beat Springfield. And I remember we wore these shirts and they said, "Leagues come and go, but rivalries last forever." And it's always good to beat the Tigers. So that's a great upset victory for my Rockets. I was pretty stoked to see that earlier.
Scotty, who was Louisville's big rival when you were in high school? Like, who was the one team they really just got up against?
I would say the two biggest. I mentioned Springfield. That was a really big one. When I was in high school, and then also we had some pretty tense battles with McDonald as well. They were another school where there was no love lost during those games. So
Oh,
never.
me.
I remember Anthony. It's just a short story, but it was either my junior or senior year of high school, and we were playing McDonald in a big. I think it was boys basketball. And we were playing them. It was a big game, and one of my buddies made a sign in the crowd, and it said, "McDonald's fries suck," which is a lie, but I thought it was funny at the time, being a high school.
They use too much salt. You take it a step further, and you bring like salt shakers to the game and throw McDonald coupons in the court after you win.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So 4-2, Louisville gets the win over Springfield, and they make things interesting in the MVAC early in the conference. West Branch baseball gets the win over Minerva 5-2. Bo Alazos really pitched well for West Branch in this win for the Warriors. East Liverpool struggled against Wheeling Central 11-0. Final score, Wheeling Central gets the win over the Potters. Big one outside of up in Ashtabula County, Lakeside was able to beat Orange 6-5. Final score, a good baseball game between the Dragons and Lions up in Ashtabula. Middle Ridge softball got the split over Waterloo, 9-4. The final score there. So those teams split in the MVAC. Another split, baseball. LeBray beats Champion 8-3 to split with the Flashes after losing yesterday. Jefferson baseball gets the split as well, 8-3. They were able to beat Hubbard. No split in Poland. They were able to take it to Struthers 13-1. Final score there. Pymatuning Valley softball beats Conneaut 8-1. Final score there. Edgewood softball beats Perry 9-7. A little revenge for the basketball team who lost two heartbreakers to Perry this season. West Branch softball beat Minerva 7-0. Final score there. Those are your final scores from the night before. All of the recaps and post-game interviews and all that fun stuff can be found on ysnlive.com, and the interviews can be found on our YouTube page as well. Scotty, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to see what you have brought to the table today to talk about. It's always fun to see what's on Scotty's mind, and we'll try to do that next on Running Point. Brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Back in a bit.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers. From sales to financing and even service, we'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries. We guarantee financing.
regardless of your situation or credit history.
No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
Our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships.
We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team.
Your goals, our game plan.
Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you. We do the same on this show every day, and we thank them for their constant support and sponsorship of what we do. Scotty, it is your time to shine, my friend. You always bring great nuggets to the table of things we want to talk about. What is on your mind today?
Yeah, well, I do want to pick your brain a little bit on the upcoming Masters starting tomorrow. But first, before I do that, you mentioned you went through a lot of the baseball and softball scores, and one of them that stuck out to me, there was quite a few lopsided scores from last night, but one of them that stuck out was Howland really rolling over Harding. And just to use this one as kind of like the question I'm getting to, the launching point to my question, I just wanted to know for you, Anthony, if you were a player or a coach, if you could put yourself in those shoes, when you take a beat down like Harding did at the hands of Howland last night, that's just one of the games that stuck out to me. And Howland, they will look to keep it rolling against Matthews tomorrow at 5 o'clock. But it was no contest after they were down 1-0 early. They back, I think it was 11 runs the next bottom half of the inning. But my point is, Anthony, if you're a team like Harding, what's the best way, would you say, to just flush it? And then on the flip side, if you're Howland, how do you keep yourself, kind of like even kill and not get too much on a high horse?
All right, so we'll start with the not good side, right? If you're beat up like 16-1, like Harding was, what the message would be. And really, Scotty, we already talked about it a little bit. This sport is built to make you fail. This sport is built to see how you come back from that. So the coaching tool and the coaching kind of answer to that question was honestly just we got to trust the process. We got to trust what we're doing. We have to trust the work that we're putting in. Obviously, we're not doing everything great right now. There are probably a lot of fixable things that the Warren Harding's coaches saw from their players last night. But you gotta keep trusting the process. You got to keep grinding. You're not gonna swing yourself out of a slump in one at bat. You're not gonna all of a sudden go from 0 for 23 to hitting 400 with one swing of the bat. So you can't swing yourself out of a slump, right? So you just got to go to every at bat, every pitch, every fielding opportunity with the same mindset and know that if you trust the process, results will come. I mean, that's one of the things you have to always remind yourself in this sport. If you keep doing the right things the right way, eventually results are going to come your way. I mean, you're going to start to see the turnaround. So Warren Harding, you just got to keep grinding. It's hard. They're trying to build a program. They're trying to build up a program in a conference that is just brutal with Boardman, Canfield, Fitch, and Howland, who they all have to contend with, and all three of those, no, four of those teams have electric pitchers that they bring in the circle. So tough going for Harding, but they just have to kind of stay the course. Their offense is good. I've seen their offense put up numbers. Their offense is a good offensive team. So they just have to, keep grinding, trusting the process, trust their game plans, trust what their coaches are telling them. And at the end of the day, that's all you can do. I mean, that's really all you can do in the sport. In this sport, you got to just keep with the same routine. For Howland, I think you have to realize that how fickle this sport is and how fast it can humble you. It's kind of the other way around. We know this sport can humble you in an instant if you get too high. So every sport can, but I think baseball and softball are the ones where you really can get in trouble if you're riding the roller coaster, right? Because you can go 4 for 4 one night, and then if you're up, and think I'm awesome, I'm electric, I am running the show, and then the next pitcher you face just kind of gives you the golden sombrero and kicks you into the bench and says you're 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, that you're going to go down real quick because you're up high, and the higher you go, Scotty, what's the rest of that phrase?
The higher you go,
Faster you fall, right?
Faster you fall.
So you got to keep with that with baseball and softball, man. The higher you go, the more you kind of are feeling yourself, the faster you'll fall if a pitcher humbles you real quick. So you got to stay even. I know one of the coaches that we bring on a lot in the soccer season, Coach Bailey. I mean, yeah, will always come in and he'll say, when we ask him how they deal with the mental grind of soccer, stay even, right? Stay even. That's what we always have to do, and that's what softball, baseball players have to do. They can't ride the roller coaster, whether you're up high right now like Holland is, or you're down low like not West Branch, like Warren Harding. You gotta stay even. You gotta stay on those straightaways. It's key to the sport. It's key to success.
Thought-provoking stuff. Now, switching gears a little bit, I have kind of mixed emotions right now, Anthony, because I've always supported a guy like BJ Singh largely because he's always, wore the I've always liked the Cleveland golf cap that he wears. So he's been a guy that I've always supported when it comes to golf, but anyone with the name Scotty, I'm cool with too. And Scotty Scheffler is the defending Masters champion. I just wanted to know from you what's your level right now. I know back in the day we would have our good buddy Brian Tonar on talking golf. But what's your feel right now going into this Masters? Do you have a storyline you're looking at that's most intriguing? Do you have a favorite in this Masters? And do you think it could be somebody that no one expects, like I guess, do you think there's any way that somebody like Tiger, who I think a lot of people think that, his best days have clearly passed them by, but do you think we could see like a big time upset in this Masters?
Scotty, here's who I like going in. This is the guy I like to win this, and you can quote me on it. And I have gotten used to picking golf because we used to do it all the time on Running Point with Brian Toner. We used to go in, he'd have his like top five and then a couple of sleepers, and then we would pick who we think are gonna win. And I remember, there was like a stretch of 5 weeks where I would pick a guy and he would win the next week. It always was like, come on, man, come on. So I felt like who's that the movie with Dane Cook where if he's with someone, the next person they're with they marry. Have you seen that movie? I can't remember the name of it, but
Was
he did
was that
with Jessica Alba, I think.
yeah, was that Good Luck Chuck?
Yep,
Or
you got it. That's it.
Okay.
Where I felt like Good Luck Chuck with picking golfers because every time I'd pick somebody, they'd win the next week.
Yeah,
But here's my pick for the Masters, Scotty. I like Colin Morikawa to win this week, to win the Masters.
so you don't see Scotty Scheffler repeating then?
I think he could, but we don't see repeats on the Masters a whole ton. It doesn't happen too often. I like Colin Morikawa. You'll look at it and he's finished in the top 10, in last 3 Masters. He's number 4 right now in ball striking, and he's number 8 in strokes gained this year. I think the numbers are kind of pointing his way. I think he's ready for a breakthrough at the Masters. He's gotten close a couple of times. I'm picking Colin.
Do you think, in your opinion, Anthony, do you think guys like Jordan Spieth and Rory McIlroy at this point in their careers, when you consider what people thought of them when they first broke into the game of golf, do you think they've kind of maybe underachieved a little bit?
Probably. I mean, I think from their angle they probably did. But one thing about Masters Week, Scotty, and Brian taught us this pretty quickly. When you're thinking about like guys that contend with the Masters, a lot of times the experience on that course helps, and a lot of times, even if they're not having a good season or they're not having a good year, whatever it may be, you see guys that have been there a lot get into the top 10 and really compete for a win. There's something. I mean, obviously, that course is insanely tough. The more you play it, the better you're going to get. So it's always the players that have been there the most that end up, being those guys that can do something. And those guys you just mentioned have been there a lot. So I would not be surprised at all if those guys are successful at Augusta because, like Brian says, the more you play that course, the better you're going to be. So the guys that have been there a lot have a bigger advantage on the guys that are there for a second, third, or fourth time.
Also, another fun question in regards to this, because it's always kind of been on mine, but if you've been there, I think, that's obviously that's fantastic. But I assume you've never been to the Masters. I was just wondering where that would rank on your sports bucket list, because I know it's on mine, and it's probably in my top. I have a long bucket list, but it's got to be in the top 10, maybe the top 5.
I'll tell you, Scotty, there are definitely things ahead of it. Like I feel like when I'm watching people watch golf and I'm watching the crowd, one, everyone is standing, which bodes not good for me. You know what I'm saying?
Not good for either one.
Not good for me. And then I'm watching the Masters and I'm thinking like, okay, so where would you put a guy in a wheelchair in this crowd? Like, where would I have to be? I can't move if the ball's coming towards me. So if someone hits 4, I'm screwed anyway. So I'm like, I don't know if I really want to go to a golf tournament. I can't see anything. My vision is bad. I feel like I'd just be sitting there and just like going off the crowd on what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't be able to take much in, which is why like baseball is hard for me to go to too, because it's like I can't see what's going on down in the field unless I'm really close. I'm like, I can't see what's going on. So I'm just kind of watching the Jumbotron and reacting with the atmosphere of the crowd and just having a time. So being at a big golf tournament, I don't know how high that is on, just because of my situation. I don't know how high that is on my bucket list, to be honest.
I could see you being like the crazed fan on Happy
You're
Gilmore.
not gonna make this putt.
You jackass. uh, but yeah, all seriousness, Anthony, I did not realize until I talked to your mom after we did the South Range um, basketball game together a while back. I did not realize that you're actually like legally like blind, man.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
totally. Like
uh,
okay, so this for like you're looking at the screen. Right now, with the glasses on, I can see the Greenwood Chevrolet, and it's right there. I can see what it says on like above our heads, and I, you can see how close I am to the laptop. Without the glasses, it's blur. It's blur. I can see the RP maybe in the middle of the running point. Your face is gone. My face is gone. Like I can't see diddly without glasses. I am legally blind without them, and I'm almost legally blind with them. So the glasses take me just above that line of legally blind, and I am legally blind totally without them. Like
uh,
people put on my glasses as a party trick, and they're like, "Whoa, man!" I think no, we did it at the March Madness party. There were a couple of people that put on my glasses, so there are a couple of people at YSN that now know the full experience of how strong my lenses are. It's not it's not fun. They're like drunk goggles, is what for everyone else. You put them on, you get a headache. You're a little shaky. You can't see clearly.
Hey, maybe one day if I make the big bucks, I could get you like a seeing eye dog.
Oh my gosh, I don't need it to move. I need someone. I don't need a dog. I need something that like can instantly tell me what's going on when I'm watching it. Like boom, like right there, just boom.
Um, this
Oh man, seeing
this
eye
shows.
dog, Scotty. I'm gonna get you for that one. That's cool.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I
was
want, Scotty? I want a pack of huskies that can just pull my wheelchair. I can just be like mush.
like wheelchair
Yeah,
sled.
I can run the Iditarod in my wheelchair.
Like yeah, that would be. Back in the day, I don't know. I thought I told you this. I'm not sure though. But back in the day, this was probably even like 10 years ago, well before I joined the YSN family, well before YSN started up. And I really wanted to get into, like, I thought like wheelchair jousting would be like so cool. I wanted to go into it
I
against.
didn't even know that officially existed. Like, there's actually wheelchair jousting. Like, you could get into it.
I'm not sure if there is, but I wanted to like start it up is what I'm saying. Uh, but yeah, that didn't happen. People talked me out of it, but
Scotty
um,
watches A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger and goes, "That's a good idea. I'm gonna do that." Oh
yeah,
man,
I'm like that looks fun.
let's do it, Scotty. Let's get into a parking lot and we'll just have a lance and we'll just ride at each other and see who can knock each other off.
Uh, but Anthony, I also wanted to ask you since uh, it's the season where hope springs eternal. Um, maybe not so much if you're a KC fan.
All right, Scotty. All right, call me when you have a World Series patch. All right, because I have one and you don't.
Yeah, I'll call you. I'll call you end of October, maybe early November. I'll
Yeah.
be giving you a call. But
Easy,
anyway,
Scotty.
I wanted to know you've been to Kauffman Stadium, which on TV it looks beautiful. You went to your first Chiefs game in Kansas City this past season at Arrowhead. So you've been to multiple events in KC. But what, as far as baseball stadiums go in the major leagues, what stadium would be at the top of your bucket list that you haven't seen? Do you have one or
Let's
a
see. I have been to PNC, Progressive, Kauffman, and that's it for MLB stadiums. Um, I think one of the ones that would definitely be on my list, just for like I want to, obviously you go to Yankee Stadium for the history. You go to Fenway for once again just kind of the green monster. But me, like I'm digging that pool in the outfield for Arizona. Like I want to go in the pool. Put me in the pool. Let me swim during a baseball game.
you wanna catch a homer in the pool?
Yeah, I mean like the Kaufman won't let you in the fountains, and so that's the next best thing, right?
Can you? I know this is a sports show. I don't want to go too far off the rails, but out of curiosity, Anthony, are you able to like? Can you hold yourself up in
Oh
water?
yeah.
Like, can you swim on your own? Or,
Oh yeah, water is my equal ground where like I don't need the chair, I don't need the crutches. I get her like I think it's because you don't have to balance too much in water. I don't know, but that's why I like getting into a swimming pool. It's good exercise.
yeah, I like it too. But see, I can do a little bit on my own if it's shallow, but after a while, it's like I need the floaties, man. I
I
need
need those floaties.
assistance.
Get me the raft, man. Let's get
Yeah,
back on track. We have gone way off the rails
yeah,
and
we got.
preview the night that's going to be here on Wednesday, April 5th. We got some baseball, we got some softball. As of now, not too much canceled, but we are kind of dodging weather. It appears like tonight might be some scattered thunderstorms a little bit later on this evening. There are two softball games that have been canceled tonight. So we'll start with that. We'll start with the bad news. Um, Shocker at Wyndham is canceled tonight. That's not happening on the softball diamond. Lisbon at East Palestine, not happening on the softball diamond. Thanks to our buddy Sam Torres. We also know that wrong group. We also know that Ashtabula St. John versus Lordstown baseball and softball has been canceled as well. So those are the ones that are canceled so far. Everything else is greenlit for now, but like I said, we're gonna be dodging storms. We're gonna be dodging some storms tonight. So fingers crossed, Scotty. Do whatever rain dance you have. Here are the baseball games that'll be on the network tonight. Scene 1, Cardinal Mooney at Ursuline at 5 o'clock. Alec Caberna will have the call there. Latonia will be at Columbiana. Joe Eusebio will have the call for that one. Middle Ridge will be at Salem, 5 o'clock start time there. Derek Rhodes on the call. And then South Range will be at Lakeview, and it'll be Connor Chavone on the call for the Bulldogs and the Raiders as well. Round 2, Lakeview was able to beat South Range on the baseball field 5-4 in game 1, so the Raiders looking for a little bit of revenge. We'll go to the softball diamond and tell you the games that'll be on the network. 4 games on the network tonight, and it starts with Hoban at Ursuline. I'll be there. It'll be at McCoon Park, Field 1. It was originally scheduled to be at YSU. It has been moved to McCoon Park. So McCoon Park and Canfield going to host Hoban and Ursuline. Maslin Perry goes to Austintown Fitch. Ty Bartell will be on the call there, 5 o'clock first pitch. Walsh Jesuit comes to Canfield. Noah Doty going to be on the call in Canfield. And then Western Reserve will play Middle Ridge. And Matt Morrison will be on the call there on the softball diamond. both teams coming in hot, with the Middle Ridge winning last night and Western Reserve winning last night. We'll go back to baseball, tell you some other games that are happening here in the area and on the Ysn family. Bristol will be at Badger tonight. Chalker is at Wyndham, 5 o'clock start time for both of those. Cheney will be at Liberty tonight. Maplewood will be at Pymatuning Valley tonight at 5 o'clock. Matthews will be at Warren JFK. That'll be at Eastwood Field. 5 o'clock is your start time there. Waterloo will be at Garfield tonight. 5 o'clock first pitch. And then Wellsville will travel to Southern tonight. 5 o'clock first pitch. Back to softball. Here are some other games that are happening. Harrison Central will be at Beaver Local. All these games are going to be at 5 o'clock, by the way. Latonia will be at Columbiana. Maplewood will be at Pymatuning Valley. South Range goes to Lakeview. Streetsboro goes to Garfield. Warren Harding will go to Mooney at the Field of Dreams. JFK will go to Newton Falls. Wellsville will go to Southern, and then East will be at Cheney, also at the Field of Dreams. Mooney will be on S1, and Cheney will be on S2 tonight for softball. Those are your matchups going on tonight on the network and otherwise. Head over to ysnlive.com/live to check out all the games that you can watch on ysnlive.com. That'll wrap up today's show. Scotty, it was great having you on. We'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2 with Running Point on YSN Live, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Enjoy the softball tonight and baseball. Try to stay dry if you can, if you find yourself in one of those scattered thunderstorms. And above all else, stay safe, stay humble, and stay kind. We'll see you tomorrow from 1 to 2 on Running Point.